Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I hope you and your family are well and safe. Today is Tuesday, October the 13th of 2020, and it's 3 p.m. here in Sydney, Australia. Welcome back to another session of Octane Virtual Meetup, where we focus and talk about IBM Planning Analytics powered by TM1. For those of you who are attending this session for the first time, I would like to let you know that we do these virtual meetup sessions every month. And today we'll be covering a very interesting topic, Spreadsheet Transformation Utility tool by IBM. As usual, I'll start the session introducing about myself. My name is Samir, and I work for Octane Software Solution as a managing consultant here in Sydney, Australia. I've been working for Octane since 2016, and last month we celebrated Octane's 4th anniversary. I have been working with IBM Planning Analytics Solutions since 2007, so it's been almost close to 14 years now. I'm a certified IBM Planning Analytics developer. Apart from being an architect for numerous large global projects, I've also been a project manager wherein I have managed both the on-site and offshore resources. My email is mentioned in the last line of this slide. Please feel free to shoot me an email in regards to today's session or anything related to IBM Planning Analytics, or even any suggestions or topics you would like me to cover in the next meetup session. For the agenda, I have the following. We'll kickstart the session about Octane, who we are and what we do. And then we will jump into the main topic for today's session, which is Spreadsheet Transformation Utility tool by IBM. And then finally, in the last 5 minutes, we'll wrap up with a Q&A session at the end. Octane, who we are an IBM Gold partner. We have 6 offices, out of which 2 offices are in Australia and 4 in India. Octane head office is based in Sydney, Australia. We have more than 40 certified IBM Planning Analytics consultants in our 6 offices, and together we have successfully delivered more than 100 projects. Octane, what we do, our 4 key areas of expertise are providing consulting, development, support, and training. Our offices in India has 24/7 support center, wherein we manage our global clients all day, all year. We also provide virtual IBM Planning Analytics training sessions. So today's topic, as I mentioned, it's going to be about the Spreadsheet Transformation Utility from IBM. So the IBM Planning Analytics trial features provides this tool, which is probably what we'll be covering in today's session. So the Spreadsheet Transformation Utility uses a model-driven engineering, artificial intelligence, and machine learning to help convert your Excel spreadsheets into powerful applications that enable collaboration and acceleration to drive performance in your organization. Now, the best thing about this transformation utility tool is that with this tool, you get to explore the IBM Planning Analytics workspace with unrestricted access. You will be getting a personal online instance for you to build your applications, perform what-if analysis, create dashboards, and also you can invite other people in your organization to explore the content and the dashboards that you have created. Now, one thing to note here is that you don't have to worry that if you're new to IBM Planning Analytics, there are guided tutorials with video clips, which will give you comprehensive understanding of how to use this IBM Planning Analytics workspace, which probably I'll showcase you in the demo. Now, before I jump into the demo, I just want to run through a few slides just to give you insights about what this tool is about and what does it actually do. So the first thing, as you can see from this slide, is it will load your spreadsheet, your Excel spreadsheet, into this environment, into a safe and secure IBM cloud. Basically, you'll see in the demo that when I click on the step 1, you can import your Excel spreadsheet into this tool, which will get saved into this IBM Planning Analytics, the IBM cloud. You have multiple options. You can add an Excel file, you can add an XLSM, which is a macro file, or you can even drop a CSV file into this tool. The data in the Excel sheet will get stored in a temporary database, and it will be created on the fly. So once the data is loaded, what this tool will do is it will analyze your spreadsheet and will give you all the insightful information. For example, as you can see, it will give you how many populated cells are there in the sheet. For example, if you see from the screenshot, I have got an Excel book which has got multiple sheets called summary sheet and an assumption sheet. Now, it will take roughly about 1 to 2 minutes, again, depending on how big your Excel file is. And then it will produce all these different stats of how many cells are there in the sheet, how many text cells are there, how many numeric cells are there. And also, you will notice here this section called formulas. So if you have got Excel formulas in this book, it will also give you the count of those cells which has got Excel formulas. Now, with this tool, as you can see, even if you don't use this application, you can at least use this tool to get your insightful information about your Excel book without even creating this application. As I mentioned, if you click on the step 1 and step 2 will give you all the insightful information, and probably you can stop here and you can see that it has given you all the insights. And if you need more insights about your Excel book, you can also click on this export button, and it will give you an Excel file which will have more information about your Excel book. Now, once the data is, during this analyzing and during the build of this application, which will happen on the fly, which I'm going to show you in the demo, you will notice all the OLAP definition, the OLAP model definition will be made available to you, and you will be given a workspace, which IBM Planning Analytics Workspace, to interact with your data. So the model, I think I got lost. So once the analysis are completed, it will transform your spreadsheet into an OLAP model. The unique cells which are there, for example, if you have your departments, your year or month, will get converted into dimensions. Any calculations which you have in your Excel book will get converted into TM1 rules. And also, if you have any hierarchy, for example, you have your employee name and the department, so it will also build the hierarchies on the fly, including the attributes as well. So all the data which is sitting in this Excel book will be converted into a cube. And all the Excel formulas, as I mentioned, will get converted into a meaningful rules, which is basically TM1 rules. And also, as I mentioned, the hierarchies will also be built on the fly, depending on your data set. And once the model is available for you, you can tweak the model. For example, as I mentioned in my screenshot, you can edit the cube name, you can edit the dimension name, and so forth. So you can change the rule as well, but I'll probably show you those things when I do the demo. And once you're happy with the model definition, which this tool is going to build for you, you can give a name to this application, and then you can pretty much use this IBM Planning Analytics workspace, which will be just created for you with one instance for one application. Now, let's first see how to get access to this tool. So if you go to google.com and maybe type in IBM Planning Analytics, probably you might find this link, Planning Analytics Overview. I'm not sure, depending on your location, you might get a different link, but look for this link, which is called Planning Analytics Overview. And once you click on that link, on the far right, you should see an icon called Start Your Free Trial. And when you click on that icon, it will take you to a page where you just have to fill in your email, first name, last name, set up your password with your region as well, and click on the Create Account. And within a couple of minutes, you will get an email from IBM saying the instance is available for you to start using it. And one thing to note here is this utility tool is available only for 30 days. So it has got its start date and end date. And so it will be available for 30 days to use. And moreover, this is a beta version. So the real version or the full version will be coming out very soon. So at this stage, this is a 30 days trial and it's a beta version. So let's get into the tool now and let's see what it does. So as I mentioned, I think when you click on that link, which is basically get started. So when I click on that link, it will take me to this landing page. Now, as you can see, the first thing to note here is it has got a lot of video clips by which you can watch and you can build your models. For example, if I click on modeling, you'll notice there is a 3-minute, 5-minute video clip, and it explains what you can do with this tool. So you'll find many video clips within this tool. So it will start from the how to analyze, how to do the modeling, how to do the integration, which is how to build your processes, how to invite other people into this tool, and you can also dump this into Excel as well. Now, one thing to note here is this icon on the top. which gives you some stats about this free tool. So when you click on this administration tab, you will notice it has, so this tool, you can have a maximum of 5 instances. When I say 5 instances, you can have up to 5 Excel workbooks. So at this point, I have the Excel books, which have been converted into TM1 instance. And also you can invite up to 5 people who can also use this dashboards or the reports which you're going to build. So it has a limit of 5 instances and a limit of 5 users whom you can invite. And also within this administration tool, you can stop and restart your instances within this page. And also if you need to take backups, the option is there to take backups of those instances as well. Now within the users tab, you have the option to invite users. So when you click on this invite, it has a very simple form wherein you just have to type in the first name, last name, the email address, and the role of that user. So there are basically 4 roles within IBM Planning Analytics Workspace. The consumer is the lowest level, wherein he can only consume the data. He cannot build the reports. The analyst is 1 level up, wherein the analyst can view the reports and also can create books. Modeler can create books and also can add elements to the dimensions. And whereas administrator has got full access to it. So depending on what you want your users to do, you can set up the role. But make sure that you cannot have more than 5 users at any given point. So that's something to keep in mind for this administration icon, which is right top of your page. So okay, to start using this tool, probably you have to start with this icon called Start from a Spreadsheet. Now, when you click on this icon or this tile, the first option you'll get is add a file. Now, I have already added that simply because it takes about 2 to 3 minutes depending on how big the file is. And I don't want to spend 2 minutes just for that file getting analyzed. So maybe what I'll do is I'll show you the file which I've got. So I have got an Excel book called payroll.xls file. So this file has, as you can see, I've got a year, I've got the department, I've got the employee ID, I've got the month, the gender of the employee, the salary. So at this point, it's all pretty much hard-coded values. But from column G, as you can see, right. So from column G, you can see that I've got a link to another sheet, which is basically calculating my superannuation, my workers' compensation, payroll tax, and the bonus as well. So the other sheet, which has got all the assumptions of the percentages, and the summary sheet has got all the salaries, and the last 4 columns, as I mentioned, it uses the salary column, the column F, and it does the multiplication using this assumption sheet. So that is the book I had. So when I drag this book into this utility tool, within probably 2 minutes, I got all the stats. Now, as you can see, I've got this book, which is payroll.xls. You will notice that I have got 2 sheets. One is called summary and one is the assumption. So that is what the stats is giving us. So there is a summary sheet and there is an assumption sheet. And it gives me how many populated cells are there, how many text, how many numeric, and you can also see how many cells has got a formula. So if I have to go back to the payroll file, you'll notice from column G to column J. So I've got about roughly 80,000 records or 80,000 cells, which has got Excel formula. So the tool has given me the exact same stats what the Excel has. And also it has got the entire book as a summary, which is basically the sum of those 2 sheets. So once this is available to you, then comes the tweaking part. As you can see now, this model or this tool has given me some dimensions. So it has went through all this Excel file and it has picked up, okay, which one needs to be dimensions, which one are measured. So automatically all those things have been built for me. So as I said before in my first slide, so this tool is using artificial intelligence and machine learning to understand your book, and based on the data set, it will create the dimensions, attributes, and the cube as well. Now, one thing you will notice here is it has got its own dimension names and cube names. Now, if I want to tweak, I can go and click on this employee underscore ID, which is basically the column name. And I want to change this dimension name to be employee ID. And I can click the save button. So you'll notice that the employee ID, the dimension name has been changed. Now, if I come further, a cube called bonus has been created. But again, because this is holding salary information, I can change that cube name to be payroll. Now, the assumption cube has been created for me, and that cube in TM1 is called as percentage. Now, again, I don't want to call this cube as percentage, sorry, which is here. Now, rather, I want to create this as, instead of percentage, I'm going to call this as assumption cube. And also, if you want to change other dimensions, yes, as you can see, it has the flexibility to wherein you can change the name of the dimensions and the cubes. So once you have made those changes, the next step here is to click on this create application. So when you click on this create application, it will ask for the name of this instance or the application. So in TM1 world, we call that as instance. So let's say I'm going to call this as payroll. I've already done that. So maybe I'll skip this. So it's saying you already got a name called payroll. So once you give a name and click on create, it's going to create an application, which probably I'll show you. Okay, so basically once you hit that create button, it will take you straight to this content page or content tab. From the start something new, it will take you to the content page. And here you will notice that a payroll folder or the application name, what you have given, has been created. So as you can see, I've got 3 Excel files which I have uploaded, and it got created with 3 different folder names. Now, one good thing about this is even if you don't have any Excel file, you can click on this start from a sample. So this has got about roughly 5 applications. So for example, if I want to start this as an application or an instance, I can click on this and I can click on this create button. So when I click on this create button, it will create a new instance for this profitability analysis. So you can feel free to play around with this one as well, but make sure a maximum you can have is 5 instances. So if you're going to start all these 5, that means you will not be able to start your own Excel book instance. So maybe use 3 of this, or maybe use 2 of your Excel books. So that way you will have a maximum of 5 to use. Okay, coming back to this payroll file. So let's see what this payroll application, which when I clicked on the create application, what is it gives us. The first thing you will notice is it has created a payroll folder. And when I click on that, it has created a few more subfolders and a book as well. Let me click on this, start by clicking here, book. Okay, now this is where the real fun starts. So this is where it will take you to IBM Planning Analytics Workspace. Okay, so again, as you can see from this screen, this is something not I have done. It has already been built for me. So when I clicked on that create application, it's giving me this book, and which already has multiple sheets within this book. Probably I'll go through one by one. What is this? But maybe I'll go with this dimension of the cube first, and then probably I'll jump into the other sheets. So when I click on this cube, you will notice this will take me to a separate book called cubes. And within this cube, the first thing you'll notice here is it's just giving us some introduction of what this cube you can do, or what the modeling can be done here. And then you can notice here it has created me 2 separate sheets, workspace sheets, one for the assumptions, which has got the superannuation, workers' compensation, payroll tax, and bonus. So basically, it has converted this assumption sheet into a cube. And again, you can see on the fly, it has done that for us. And the second sheet you will notice is a payroll sheet. Now that payroll sheet is basically, it has converted this summary sheet. So this has been converted into a cube, and all the data for the salary, super, workers' compensation, all this has been loaded into that cube. And that's what you will see here. So salary, super, workers' compensation, payroll tax, and bonus. Now the next interesting thing to see here is all these Excel formulas, what we have. For example, the superannuation, basically it takes your salary, which is your 5,774, multiply by the assumption B2 cell, which is there is something called super percentage. Now that Excel formula is now converted into a rule. So this is a TM1 rule. As you can see here, a rule has been created for us. So all the Excel formulas will now get converted into TM1 rules. So because I've got four rules or four Excel formulas, so for those four, I've got four rules written automatically on the fly. So this tool might also be helpful for someone who wants to learn TM1 or want to get into the rules, how to write your rules and how to create your cube dimensions. So not only analysts, even if you want to build your own applications, whether it's you want to build new cubes or new dimensions, new hierarchies, I'm going to show you all those things. So you can utilize this tool to do all those things. And also for someone who has not used IBM Planning Analytics Workspace, this tool will give you all the flavors what IBM Planning Analytics Workspace can do for you. Okay, what can we do apart from seeing the data set in this? So you can see this cube will have all the functionality like a normal TM1 cube where you can slice and dice. So the department has become a dimension where we can see here. So this has become a dimension for me. The year has become a dimension for me. So you can see here the year is there. Other things like, for example, the gender and the employee ID, I think that has been grouped as an hierarchy. So when I double click on that, so you can see here, so all the gender with M, which is male, has been grouped into a consolidation called M, and all the employee IDs where the gender is female is been grouped under F. So all this, even the hierarchy has been built by this tool automatically for us. So if I want to slice and dice this information by department, I can drag this, which your normal TM1 slice and dice. You can start playing around with this. Now, how do I modify this? Now, let's assume I want to introduce a new measure called total, for example. So I want to have a consolidation element called total, wherein I can add all these variables or measures into one bucket. So what I'll do is I'll go back to this home screen, and let me go to this dimension screen now. So because as I mentioned, if you remember that you will have unrestricted access in this tool, which means you will have admin access. You can build your cubes, you can build dimensions, and you can add new elements as well. So I'll go to this dimension called payroll measure. And within this payroll measure, I can see I've got those 5. Now I can use this plus sign to add a new element called total. I'll click on commit. And then I can make this consolidation. So I'll just do a cut. Sorry. Sorry, one second. Okay, I can probably drag and drop it. That's the easy way, I think. So for total, I have got a bonus. I have got a payroll tax. I've got workers' compensation, super, and I'm going to drag the salaries. And that's it. So now I've got a consolidation, and let me change the format of that total to be comma, and that's it. Once I click on the save button, I've got a total now. So when I move back to my cubes and refresh this, so you can see I've got a consolidation on the fly called total, which has got these 5 elements. Now let's add one more thing. Okay, I want to introduce a new element called a COVID deduction, where I want to take out say 20% salary for all the employees across the board for all the departments. So let me go back to the dimensions, and I will go to the assumption measure, which is where one of the measure, assumption type. So I've already got 5. So superannuation, workers' compensation, payroll tax, and bonus, which is basically those 4 percentages I have. I want to introduce one more. So I'll go back to this tool. I'm going to add one more, and this time I'm going to create a new element. Say I'll say COVID deduction percentage. Right. And I'll set the format of this to be a percentage. I'll save this. Now coming back to the cubes. So under assumptions, now when I refresh this, I'm going to get one more call COVID reduction percentage. Now let me put say 20%. Okay, so that's my first step. The next step I want to do here is I want to introduce a new line called COVID deduction dollar. So again, I'll go back to dimensions, and this time I will use the payroll measure. So currently I have bonus, payroll tax, these 6 elements. I'll introduce one more element, COVID deduction. This time it's a dollar. Okay, and then I'll set the format of this to be comma. And then I'll save this. Coming back to the cubes. So when I refresh, we should see a new line called COVID deduction dollar. Right. Okay, so we have at this point it says 0 because we don't have any data for that, nor we don't have any rule. What we'll do is we'll copy this rule which we have written for bonus, and we'll say instead of bonus, we're going to say, okay, for COVID deduction I'll say, okay, from the salary. So take the salary, multiply by, go to this assumption cube, which is basically this cube, and then take this COVID deduction percentage. So instead of bonus, I'm going to say right, and then I'll click on the save button. So as soon as you'll notice, once I click the save button, the numbers will start populating here. So the rule has been saved. I'm going to refresh this. So basically, I've taken 20% from the salary, and it is sitting in there. Sorry, instead of 20%, probably I'll say just say minus 20%, I think, because I want to take out the salary of 20% salary from that. So it's coming back to the payroll. So now there should be a negative 39 million. So you can see now it's so powerful that on the fly, I'm able to create my assumptions. I can apply some rules, and I can add some consolidations, and I can change the format of the cells. I can see all those things can happen on the fly. So anyone who knows TM1, who is a developer, will be able to create this. Or even if someone doesn't have much knowledge or experience as a TM1 developer, even for them, it will not be that hard. As you can see, the model has built probably 80% of the things which I want. Now I'm just trying to tweak and adjust the rules, the elements on the fly to make things happen. Now, again, it's all the more so connected that if I change any percentage, it's going to impact. If I'm going to make this as 25%, coming back to the payroll cube, when I click refresh, you will notice that the salary is getting deducted automatically. And that is because we have got a rule written for that particular line. Now, what else can we do apart from tweaking the model? Okay, one thing you'll notice here is you get all the features what you normally get in your workspace. So when I click on the spend sign, all the options what normally a workspace full version people get, we can get this in this trial version. So let me do a few things and see and how quickly you will notice we will be able to create a dashboard on the fly. So we'll start with this one, okay, text. So by using that text feature, you can put a heading to this model. I can say this is payroll stats. I think then you can change the color, the font size, all those things are available in this. So that is the way you can add text to your dashboard. Further going, I think if you want to have your logo of the company, you can use this icon called image. By using that, it will ask you for a HTTPS link. So you cannot have your C drive or D drive images stored put here. So you need to get the URL. So the best way you can get is from your intranet. or another option is to get it from Google. So for example, if I take Octane, so if I want this image, I'll right click, I'll say copy image link. So using that icon, you can add your images or the logos of your organization. If I want to export this into Excel, we do have that option available as well. From this, you can utilize this export button, wherein when you click on that, it will ask you where you want to dump. So I'll say Excel file. When you click OK, it's going to generate an Excel file by which you will get all this information what you have in this tool will be in Excel. Now, one thing to keep in mind, it doesn't have live connection to TM1 cubes. It's just a snapshot of your report, as you can see. So the data has been dumped into Excel, but it's a snapshot. It's not a live report to TM1. Apart from that, I think you have plenty of other options. Maybe I don't want to go through all these things, which is available in your workspace. One thing to see here is your visualizations as well. So all the visualizations which we get from Workspace are also available for you to utilize this. So if I have to utilize, say, for example, tree map, you will notice that visualization is available for us in this trial version. So there is no kind of, because it's a trial version, there is no kind of the features has been taken away. So all the features which the full version of Workspace we get, all the features are available in this trial version. Okay, going on the left side, you will notice that you will get all your Excel books. So each Excel book is converted into an instance. And within the book, if you have, say, 5 sheets, so those 5 sheets will become 5 cubes. So one Excel book is one instance. And within that Excel book, if you have multiple sheets, each sheet is a cube. For example, I had the payroll workbook, and within that I had 2 sheets. One is called assumption and one is called the summary. So it automatically converted those into 2 different cubes. So like this, you can have up to 5 Excel books, which will get converted into 5 instances. And once you have that 5 Excel books converted into 5 sheets, and from there onwards, you can do your normal slicing and dicing. For example, if I have to go to the payroll cube, if I have to pick any one view from there, I can add to my sheet. If I have to go to another Excel book, and for example, the sales Excel book, and which has become a sales instance for me. Now within that sales book, I had about a few sheets. Now those sheets have been converted into books. So it's currently loading for me. But anyway, I'll come back to that one. So, and if you have any common dimensions, you can keep them outside your cubes, and that way you can link between the cubes as well. So as you can see, within the sales Excel book has been converted into Excel instance. And within that, I have about maybe just 1 cube. I think I had 1 sheet. And then I can drag that Excel sales cube into my 1 sheet. So now you can see I can build a dashboard getting information from multiple Excel books, which has been converted into multiple instances, and I can have all those information in one report. So apart from that, I think you can also do your data spread. For example, if the total of all the salaries is about 188, if I want to increase this by 10%, I think you can do that on the fly by simply selecting the spread and data method, and then you can see the percentage change. I can say add, say maybe I'll subtract, say 20%, and if I say apply, you'll notice this 188 will go down by 20%. Okay, sorry, there is a rule written on that, so I'm not able to convert that. But if I, for example, if I have to take the salaries for, let's say I want to reduce this 199 by 10%, I think I can go to this data spread, use the percentage, subtract 20%. So from 199 million, okay, it has come down to 159. So again, just want to show you that all the features what we get in Workspace, we have that in this trial version of IBM Planning Analytics. Okay, coming back to the processes. So we have seen cubes and dimensions and elements as well. So for example, if I want to create more cubes, I can create more cubes as well. So again, you have full admin access. You can create as many cubes as you want. There is no restriction on that. You can create as many dimensions as you want by simply right-clicking on the dimension and creating your dimensions, which also means you can create your attributes. You can load your attributes. All can be done within this tool. Now, what about the TI processes? So how do we create TI processes? So for that, I have to go back to the home screen. I will use this integration and automation. Right. So this will give you options to create your processes as well. But one thing to keep in mind is you cannot connect to your external database. But if you have a CSV file, as you can see, you have a CSV file option. You can drag your CSV file. Let's say, for example, I have a CSV file called sales. And if I drag into this box, you will find that sales.csv will be in there. So once I click on that, so once I finish dragging that file into this tool, I click on sales, I click on next. Again, you will see all the options which we get in a TI process. It's available in this tool. So I can do a preview of the data as well, just to see what information this CSV file has. So maybe I'll open the sales.csv file just to show you what information we have in this. So I have the countries. I have got something called retailers, products, version, month, quantity, price. That is available in the preview screen. Now, once that information is there, then I can start writing my scripts. Now, if you know or aware of how to write your scripts, you can start writing your script for prologue, metadata, data type, and epilogue, because that file is now on the cloud. And when you finished writing your script, you can click on save and you can click on run. So that way the CSV file data will get loaded into the cube which you have. So here in this case, I'm saying, okay, the instance name is payroll, and I've created a process which I want to use this to load into, say, the cube called payroll. So at this point, I think probably you might need to know a bit of coding. I think if you're aware of how to write the script for prologue, metadata, data type, and epilogue, you can start writing it. And you can, as I mentioned, you can click on save and click on run. So you can have your cube as the source, you can have CSV file as a source, or you can have dimensions as a source. At this point, there is no external data source connection. But as I mentioned, this is a beta version. So maybe when the full version is released for this trial, for this IBM Planning Analytics on trial version, we might be able to see how to connect to your external database as well. Right, just to summarize the things what we have seen so far is, so this is an IBM Planning Analytics trial version wherein you can drop your CSV files and on the fly it will create cubes, dimensions, and even books and some views for you on the fly. And you will notice the things it does very quickly, depending on how big your file is. If it's maybe a book with, say, 10 sheets with millions of records, I think it's going to take some time. But if it's a very standard book like how I have, then you will see things getting created on the fly very quickly. And as I mentioned, I think each Excel book, when you upload, it's going to create multiple books for you. So again, those books are also available for you to start using it. Now, how do we invite users? I think that's my last part of this demo. So as I mentioned, this payroll Excel file has created its own folder. Within that, there is a model and security, or we can even go to the first home screen, which has got this access rights. So within this tool, you will have a series of actions. So things like if you want to add new users or if you want to delete users, you will find all those buttons which has been built for us. So all we have to do is add a new user and then give the name of the email ID of the user, and you can click OK. That's one way of adding your users, and then you can also set them up whether they want to be admin or they want to be a contributors or viewers, or you can even create some groups on the fly as well. So this is one way of adding users. Again, there is a limit of up to 5 users you can add, including you. So that's something to keep in mind. So either you can use this option, or as I mentioned in my beginning of the demo, where you can use this icon, and using this users tab, you can click on this invite users by filling up this form. So there are 2 ways of creating users within this tool. So you can use any one of them. Right. Before I take some questions, I think I just want to summarize. As you can see, I think this tool has the capability of all the things what we normally do in IBM Plan Analytics. So you just have to maybe sit back and have a coffee while performing the key steps of loading your data, analyzing the data, transforming your data, and then finally you can tweak the model, whether it's your dimension names or your cube names, or whether you want to even add new dimension elements or rules. All those things can be tweaked within that model, but 80% of the model will be there for you. The 20% of tweak, you can do it at the end. And then finally, you can enjoy this amazing and the powerful utility tool from IBM. We'll probably take, I've got a few 15 minutes to go. I think if you have any questions, I'm happy to take and maybe showcase a few more things. Right, I think okay, I've got the first question. What happens at the end of 30 days trial period? You will not be able to use the system, or another option is to upgrade to IBM Planning Analytics on-demand plan or the enterprise plan. I don't want to go in details of the pricing, but probably what I can show you here is if you go to this same link which we have registered, which is this, if I go back to IBM Planning Analytics, I think I've saved it on my favorites. Right. So if you go to this IBM Planning Analytics pricing, you will find that the trial version, then you have the enterprise, and then you have the on-demand. So this trial version, as I mentioned, it's for 30 days. Whereas if you want to move to the next level after 30 days, what happens is either you have to upgrade to on-demand, or else you will lose the access to your models. I mean, as I mentioned, I don't want to go in details of the pricing, but there is a good matrix below where it talks about all the different features which we have in IBM Planning Analytics, and what do you get in the trial version, what do you get in enterprise, and what do you get in on-demand. So maybe you guys can have a look into this table and see what features, as I mentioned, in trial version, because it's free, there might be some limitations like the Excel integration with the BBRW formula, so you might not get that. But in terms of the workspace itself, I think you will have the full unrestricted access. And yeah, so the next question I have is, how many Excel files can I upload to create multiple applications with this trial version? So I think I've mentioned that you can upload one Excel file at a time. So going back to this, So from the landing page, when I click on start from a spreadsheet, you will notice the first option we get is the import. So at that point, you can upload one Excel file to create one instance. So in my example, I have loaded a file called payroll.xls file. Now that payroll.xls file has created one instance for me. So one Excel file will give you one instance. But I think you have to keep in mind that you have a maximum of 5 applications which can be created, which is basically 5 instances. And again, to monitor, that information is available in this administration tab, wherein if I go to the subscription page, it tells you, so out of 5, I have utilized 3, so another 2 to go. And out of 5 users whom I can bring into this tool, I've got only 1 at this point, which is me. And so I can bring in 4 more. So this administration sheet will give you the details. And another thing to keep in mind is it has a limit of only 2 GB of database. So because it's a trial version, so that also is something you have to keep in mind. The next question I have is, can I connect to my organization database? I believe this is referring to the, for example, if it's a SQL Server or an Oracle database. Unfortunately, at this point, no. The ability to connect to external data source using TM1 processors with this trial version is unfortunately not available. But as I mentioned, you can import your CSV files, and hopefully the next version of this tool might have that option. But the enterprise version, of course, you will get the full all the features of the external source system. You will have that. I think just looking at this features. Here it is. So data integration from on-premises systems to the cloud. So I believe that one is available only with your enterprise. So with the trial and on demand, you don't get that feature. So at this point, it's only CSV files you can use, not the external source system. So the next one I have is, can I slice TM1 cubes into Excel with DBRW formulas? Again, the answer to that is no. As you can see with the trial version, the Excel interface, we don't have that. So which means you cannot slice or have active forms, which we normally have in TM1. But one thing I think, as I mentioned, is you can snapshot. So that feature is still there from your cubes. You do have the feature of exporting this into Excel, but this is just a snapshot, not a DBRW formulas. Okay, the next one I have is, you mentioned it supports macro files. Will this tool convert macros? I think this is in regards to, okay, I believe the user is referring to this. So where I mentioned it supports Excel files, it supports CSV files, and it supports macro files as well. But unfortunately, it doesn't convert all the macros what you have got in your Excel book. But again, this is a beta version, so you might have that feature coming up in the next release of this tool. But unfortunately, at this point, it does support that XLSM file, but it doesn't convert the macros what you have in your Excel book. So that's something to keep in mind. That's all I have. I've got a few more minutes. Just wait for me, a few more questions if I get. Right, maybe I'll finish it off. Thank you everyone for your presence. I hope this session was very productive and useful. Just a reminder that we do these virtual meetup sessions every month. The next meetup session is on November 10th. That is, I believe that's Tuesday. I hope to see you all next month. Please be safe and take care of yourself and your close ones. Enjoy the rest of your day. Until next time, bye-bye.